so initially I wasn't planning on making any videos today. However, some news came out recently that I think I need to report on. So apparently, the DNC has pulled the screw job I was afraid of. They have not listened to the people. They have not listened to the petition. They have not listened to the 24 other polls out there. They've excluded all of them. And they have now decided that Tulsi Gabbard cannot make the third round of debates. Now, she's not the only one. They're kicking a lot of other people off the stage too, but in all honesty, I'm not going to miss them. They're not making the debates simply because they didn't pull any sort of a grassroots support. Tulsi Gabbard pulled a lot of grassroots support. Now you might say, well, why wouldn't she pull any better in the polls? I think it's just because she wasn't as well known. She doesn't get nearly as much media coverage. I think if she'd have been allowed to stay in the debate, she would have really taken off because she would be the if that wasn't so, then why was she the most searched candidate after the first and second debates when she was on each night? I mean, to me, it just kind of only adds up that she would have really taken off and really done a great job. But they're excluding her from the third round of debates. She will not make the debates at this point unless something really changes. But they have announced their lineup. Now, let's just take a look at that lineup for one moment. Okay, so here we are. Nice little list of who made the debates. Well, let's just start and go from left to right here, shall we? Amy Klobuchar. Boy, that's a wonderful inclusion. Or as, Kyle Kalinske over on Secular Talking Jimmy Dore, like to call her, Amy Klobuchar. Okay, but it's whatever. I mean, so Klobuchar, sum that up for you. Corporatist. She's old. The old status quo, corrupt, right in the center of the line, doing the bidding of the rich. Yeah, that's not going to be a people person. I mean, hey, if she gets elected and proves me wrong, I'm not going to complain. I'm not putting any money on it. Okay, Cory Booker. Oh wow, old Spartacus himself, basically. Yeah, Spartacus. That's what he referred to himself as, right? So, that's a great inclusion. Pete Buttigieg. Oh, you mean the guy who just came out recently saying he's in favor of the DNC superdelegate system? Gee, I wonder why. You don't think he might be trying to get the nomination through some way that, benefits him? If the people don't vote for him, the superdelegates might, and he can still get the nomination, right? Yeah, okay, so that guy. And of course, you've got Bernie Sanders. I've voiced my agreements and disagreements with Bernie Sanders, but he is, overall, I would say at least somewhat more of the people person on the stage. And I have some serious disagreements with Bernie Sanders. I really don't think he's much of an outsider. A lot of people are really playing him up to be. I feel like he has sold out to the Democratic Party on too many occasions, and I'm really disappointed in the fact that he is not speaking out against the way the DNC is continuing to rig this entire system. He got the superdelegate thing changed where they don't vote on the first round, they vote on the second round, but I'll guarantee you, Bernie, if you make it, it'll be a contested convention. You won't have enough to win the first round. More than likely, they'll screw you on that second round, son. So just be prepared for that. Okay, and I'm really disappointed in the fact he would not speak out about what's going on with Tulsi Gabbard, considering Tulsi Gabbard, in part, stepped down from the DNC to support him in 2016, even though he sold out to Hillary Clinton at the end of the day, and now they're screwing her on the debate stage. Now, obviously, I know he wants to win, but I still think from a moral standpoint, Bernie should be speaking out about this. Okay? Next, we have good old Joe Biden. Now, for those of you who are not aware, Joe Biden's wife just hit the campaign trail recently. And Joe Biden's wife basically said, yeah, he sucks. I'll give you a minute to let that sink in. Joe Biden's wife said he sucks. Now, to give you some context about what I'm talking about, basically she was saying you need to look at the candidate's electability. Sure, your candidate might be better on, I don't know, for example, health care, as I believe how she put it. So you're telling me that there are other people on the stage who have better health care plans than Joe Biden? And we should vote for this guy? Then things got really, really bad. Twice now, he has not been able to remember President Obama's name. Now, the first time, it could have just been he was talking a little fast, slip of the tongue, but then here was the recent one. He was giving a speech and was talking about President Obama and was trying to say, I think he was actually talking about like Russia and the whole Crimea thing, and he said that they were trying to reach out to President, and he just long paused. My boss. Really, Joe? You can't even remember the name of your own president that you served under? We're not talking, Joe, we're not talking 30 years ago. Obama just left office in 2016, son. Or right at the beginning of 2017. Really? You can't remember that far back, Joe? Come on. This guy's one big gaffe. Okay? Elizabeth Warren, oh boy. Yep. If you've watched my channel, you know exactly how I feel about Elizabeth Warren. Don't care for her. A lot of people think she has a good populist message. Me personally, I feel she's a little hypocritical. I do think she took advantage of trying to use that Native American thing many, many years ago. And the fact that she kept fighting, saying she was, even after she got the DNA test done to show that she was Native American, the bimbo didn't even realize that how much Native American she has in her is less than the average white person in this country. We're not even going to get into how much minorities have, because they actually probably have more of it in them than white people do. But she's definitely a white person. And she tried to say she did actually have Native American ancestry. And that little bitty sliver of it is less than the average white person in this country. Yeah, that's nothing to brag about there, Liz. That means you're white or we're all Native American. Okay? Next we get to good old Kamala Harris. Oh boy. Kamala Harris. Should we rehash this issue again? The lady who, as Attorney General, when running for re-election, her Republican counterpart was in favor of legalizing marijuana recreationally. She laughed at it, basically said, yeah, well, he's entitled to his opinion, and said, basically giving the message, yeah, that's a dumb idea. I'm not planning to do that. Okay. She also then later on went on to the Breakfast Club and proceeded to tell stories about how she smoked pot back in her college days. Then when they got around to asking her what music she listened to back in her, she said back when she was in college, she listened to Tupac and Snoop. And, well, Kamala graduated early 80s. Okay, Tupac came out in 87. Possible she was still in college when he came out, but Snoop, early 90s, yeah, no, wasn't happening. So I don't buy it unless she showed me her college record. Me and multiple other YouTubers have listened to that and said, okay, yeah, you're doing nothing but trying to pander there, Kamala. You're just pandering up to the people. She also, as exposed by Tulsi, and this is why they don't want her on the debate stage. I'm getting back to Tulsi in just a moment here, because that's who I'm really wanting to talk about today. But Tulsi exposed the fact she left many people in prison way beyond their sentence dates, tried to use them as cheap labor for the state of California, refused to turn over information that would have set people on death row free until courts made her do so. So, oh yeah, that's a great candidate. Okay, then we got Andrew Yang. Now, I actually really don't have many qualms with Andrew Yang. I don't know how much I really support him. I mean, but from some of his positions just seem a little out there to me. Like, for example, the universal basic income thing. But then he got a pretty good way of explaining it like it's been actually something talked about going back for a very long time. I would just have to hear more fine details on him. However, he's been so low on the polls usually. I'm surprised he made this debate and Tulsi didn't actually. I thought he was below her. So, that being said, but I'm not, unhappy with Andrew Yang being part of this debate. As long as he gets some decent time. I think that's been one thing they've been trying to do to any of these other people who are not playing the status quo game here. They don't give them much time in the debates. Okay? And then we get everyone's favorite wannabe Latino, Beto O'Rourke. How is he still in this race? Hasn't he restarted his campaign like 3 times now? And all the people who are endorsing him, all the big media companies and magazines and crap, and newspapers that were endorsing him over Ted Cruz in the midterms, now want him to drop out. He is going absolutely nowhere. This guy's biggest claim to fame for this whole election cycle was standing on, dining room tables in different restaurants across the country, putting his nasty ass feet all over the tables. So yeah, this guy should have been gone a long time. Him and a few other people really should be gone from this list because they're certainly not people. They're not going to represent the people at all. Okay, so it really saddens me that we're not going to see Tulsi in this debate yet. We're going to see all these jokes. Okay, and then finally, Julian Castro. Now, I thought he was in the same boat as Tulsi because the Change.org petition said that he was going to be excluded also. Maybe something turned around. I'm not sure how he squeezed into this debate, but nonetheless he has. But I'm not exactly a huge supporter of Julian Castro's either. Like I said, if I had to pick my top 3 that I could throw some support behind in this race to some degree, Tulsi first, Andrew Yang second, at this point Bernie third. There were a couple other people there in the pretty early, but definitely not John Delaney or Tim Ryan. But so nonetheless, that's who they've given us for the 3rd round of debates. So at this point, I genuinely don't know if Tulsi's gonna just drop out of the race. Maybe try to hold out and see if there's some way she gets into the 4th debate. Maybe people see what's going on and they start making an outcry and it somehow gets her back into the 4th round of debates. But I don't see it happening. They've cut her. They've done their dirty work. They're not going to reverse it. I hope I'm wrong, but I just don't see it happening. So, with that being said, kind of doesn't really give much hope for getting her into the later debate. So, I don't want to see her drop out. I want to see her get in the next round of debates. But I just don't see something like that happen. The DNC is just playing more of their old games. The Democrats are playing their games, and they want their corporatist people. And the only reason they haven't nudged any of these other people out, like Andrew Yang, I'm surprised by. Andrew Yang, I'm actually surprised by. But Bernie, it's just because there is far too much support for him since 2016 because he really got the traction he needed when he was running against probably one of the most unpopular candidates in American history, who was being given the nomination. And when all that got exposed, it did nothing but make him seem like even more of a martyr. He hurt himself when he sold out to the witch, though. In my opinion, he hurt himself. He hurt himself bad. You can debate on why he did it, but it doesn't matter. But even if this is the end for Tulsi, I just want to make a couple points here. in my opinion, who would have been the best candidate out of anyone who's declared and announced so far to have beaten Donald Trump? Well, I come to two people. Richard Ojeda and Tulsi Gabbard. Now, honestly, I really, really like Richard Ojeda, and if he didn't drop out, he would have been my number one. Tulsi would have been my number two. Okay? But he didn't last in that race very long at all. But Ojeda, I feel like who had a better chance of beating Trump, though, I feel like Tulsi would have actually had one up on Ojeda. Even though Ojeda was far more of a blue-collar people person than Tulsi. They both had the military background. They both had a good message. But Tulsi, I feel like, would be able to draw a lot more support from women because she's a woman. She would also draw more support, I believe, from minorities, being from Hawaii, and So, and Ojeda, as great as his message is in today's climate, he fits the old bill that, the Democratic Party and their constituents are really pushing more towards diversity. And even if it's a good message, and now Bernie Sanders is, of course, an exception. He is the old white guy, so he's showing, hey, it's not everything, but at the same time, Ojeda is, typical white male, basically. So I feel like Tulsi would have actually stood, a better chance than Ojeda, but I feel like they both could have beaten Trump. And the reason why, similar to what I said in my video where I really had a lot to say about Mr. Hassan Piker from TYT and his disrespected veterans. Trump has a message to a certain degree that does resonate with a lot of people in this country. Economics, foreign policy. Now, he hasn't followed through on the foreign policy like he said he would. He hasn't gotten us out of all the wars. If anything, he's hinted about possibly even getting more involved in some. He's hinted about pulling out in others, but nonetheless, nothing has actually happened to get us out. Okay? He's withdrawn some troops, but we're still there. We didn't pull out. And that's probably because he's putting a lot of war hawks into his cabinet who don't want us to go anywhere. Okay? Something I'm heavily against and have not agreed with him on ever since he started doing it. I don't like it one bit. Okay? Tulsi would be carrying that message. Now, of course, and that's actually something mainstream media use to try to attack her with. It's also something like, I think, Vox tried to use to attack her with. They tried to tie her to Trump because they know there's such an outrage on the left about anything Trump. They think, oh, we don't want her around, so we'll take the message that Trump actually used that was really a good message, but the people hate Trump, and we'll say she's like Trump. In reality, it's actually a good reason, but people hate him. We tie her to him. This is gold, man. We're gonna sink her ass. We're going to bury her. Yeah, she won't go anywhere because we're going to tie her to President Trump. Everybody hates President Trump. They thought this whole thing out. They thought it out. They knew if they tried to tie her to President Trump that they would be pushing people to say, oh, she's like Trump. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want that because there's too many people who just don't do their own research in today's world. And so they would hear it, believe it, not research it, and figure out where the actual similarities lie. They're actually good reasons. So they were very, very conniving and very smart, I guess you could say, in their way of trying to attack Tulsi this whole time. Okay? Now, moving forward from there, she has that foreign policy, the anti-war, mind our own business, take care of our vets. But then she's got obviously some differences, okay? She would, obviously more for clean energy, going green, things like that, the climate change. I think she'd be more concerned with Flint, Michigan's drinking water. Those are things that are really going to resonate with people. I think it would have gotten her a lot of support. Richard Ojeda would have done the same thing. It would have got him a lot of support. Okay? So they would be able to pull any of the Democrats who went for Trump in 2016. They would definitely pull those people back, in my opinion. They would also be pulling out a lot more independents. Um, the independents who went for Trump, I think they may hear that message and see that Trump gave the message, but in a lot of ways he's kind of been some of the same old from the Republicans on a lot of issues. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Because he brought in the old Republican guard, basically. Okay? They would look at that and say, okay, well, you said it, and you kind of done just like what you bashed on the campaign trail. You know, politicians say whatever and do nothing, so we'll try this one this time. So I think they would have drawn a lot of independents, and honestly, I think that they would have also drawn some Republican votes over, kind of in the way Trump drew some Democrat votes. It's at least possible. And the other reason I feel like that she would have definitely won, and had possibly even more of a chance than Richard Ojeda, is in a lot of ways I like to think that chivalry still exists to some degree. Now, there was no one chivalrous about Hillary Clinton. No one. Okay? No one really cared what he said, I don't think about it. Now, of course, no, I take that back. There are a lot of people who did get outraged at some of his remarks about Clinton, but I wasn't really one of them. I mean, Hillary Clinton was an awful candidate and really not that great of a person. She's very corrupt, very evil. Clinton's corruption is quite a messy situation to investigate. Okay? So, but Trump's big line of attack really comes through name calling, insults, things of that nature. Well, kind of like this, and then going back to what I said, just like with Hassan Piker, the video I made about his very disrespectful comments to a combat veteran. Tulsi Gabbard is a veteran. Not only a veteran, she's still actively serving. What are you going to attack her with? Huh? What are you going to attack her? You going to name call someone who's actively serving in the military and you think that's going to help you? No. Now people are going to say, well, look what he did to John McCain and got away with it. But that was one time. One time, he made one comment. They weren't actively debating each other. You don't think that if it was the general election, they're running ads with each other back and forth. He says one thing about Tulsi Gabbard, calls her some kind of a rude name. It'd be on all of her ads. People would be scoffing at Trump and saying, okay, yeah, this is too much. Even a lot of the Republicans would not accept that he spoke to a woman and a veteran and someone who's actively serving in the military that way. So yeah, that Trump would have really had his tools he uses for debate in a lot of ways taken away with him, and the only thing he could have fought her on is policy, and he doesn't have that much of an upper hand going in on the policy. You've got obviously the big disagreement between the right and the left on which policy works better, but there's nothing he can really come into the room and just take you out at the knees anymore, because it would work the opposite way when he's trying to use it on someone like Tulsi Gabbard. It wouldn't have worked. I think if he does it on Elizabeth Warren, it'll fire up the left, but the right will be going, yeah. So he'll get by with it. He does it to Bernie, it'll work. He does it to Kamala, it'll work. He does it to Klobuchar, it'll work. He does it to Beto, Buttigieg, Yang. I don't really know what he'll hit Andrew Yang with, but, Cory Booker. Take your pick. Joe. He's already been doing it to Joe. And the Republicans love it. They love it. So, it's like this, people. Very, very, very clearly, the DNC and the Democratic Party doesn't really care about beating President Trump like they tell you they do. If they do, they would have allowed Tulsi to continue debating, because she clearly has big grassroots support behind her. Okay? But they don't want her in the debates because she's not going to toe the party line the way they want her to. She didn't do it in 2016. That's why she resigned her post with the DNC. So, more of the DNC's games. If they wanted to beat President Trump, they would let someone like her, who would be able to really fight him good in the general election and have a good chance of winning. Aside from the poll numbers, just strategy alone, she would have been nearly guaranteed possibly the victory. It would have come down to policy and policy alone. But if Trump had attacked her the way he's attacked other people and used his typical thing, in my opinion, it would have bit him in the butt. But they don't want her on stage because she's not going to play their game. They want their corporate, elitist candidate. And that's not Tulsi Gabbard. So, I want to say keep up the support. I really, like I say, hope we can see her maybe make the 4th debate, or maybe by some miracle they'll change their mind on something. But I don't see it happening. The fix is in, and we're about to relive 2016. Don't be surprised if we end up with some crappy corporatist nominee for the Democratic Party to go against President Trump. In which case, if Joe Biden gets that nomination, it's like this. I'm Trump 2020, man, without a doubt. I already voted for the man in 2016, and I have my serious disagreements with Trump, but I like a lot more some of the things he's doing than Joe Biden. The South is a heavy red state. I'm an independent, but there's a lot of things I do agree that I heard Trump say that I've seen Trump do. I don't agree with all the racist, what some people might call racist rhetoric that fuels racial stuff. I'm not a fan of that, but at the end of the day, what some people are calling the trade war, I feel like is necessary. And Joe Biden would put us right back in the same old trade circle that's been costing us jobs, losing our money, and hurting this economy for a long, long time. I will not go for it. As a working class man, I need my job and I need to be able to make decent money for my household. Now, I'm not going to vote for some corporate stooge who's just going to go along to get along and hurt the little man like myself. It's not going to happen. So keep up the fight out there. Hopefully we can get Tulsi into maybe the 4th debate, possibly even this 3rd debate, but I just don't see it happening. The DNC's already announced the lineup, and I really hope Tulsi doesn't drop out, but if she does, I can't say that I blame her, because the DNC is doing everything within their power to screw this nomination with her. They don't want her up there. They don't want her as a candidate. They've made it clear. They're ignoring the polls. They're playing their games, and we're about to relive 2016 all over again.